Mariposa Oscura here. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel to pay me a visit. I want to talk about something very important today that I want to get into. As an artist myself and an artist who's trying to make it in the industry, I'm doing okay. I consider myself successful. I'm happy with the art I create and my business and that sort of thing. But of course, when opportunities come up for me to collab with a company or another artist or anything within that realm, I get excited. I love doing those sort of things. It's like my favorite thing to do is to create artwork with other artists or companies involved in the industry or something like that. And I get a lot of offers, companies that reach out to me. Some I don't, it's rare that I'll do business with a company just because when you're an artist, a lot of companies, not all, but they either need the rights to whatever artwork you create for them, or they want a particular percentage of the sales, which I feel are too high, or they don't give you creative control as the artist. There's a multitude of reasons why I wouldn't necessarily do business with a company, but that doesn't make them a bad company. If they give you all the information up front for you to work with, and it's up to you to make the best decision possible to do business with that company or the individual or whoever you may be collaborating with. The reason that what prompted this video, unfortunately, is I had a company reach out to me called 1340 Gallery. They sent me a message on Instagram. Of course, when I saw the message, it's not the first time I've had a company approach me via social media platforms, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. So that's not uncommon. Usually they'll initially reach out via social media and then we'll immediately afterwards transfer over to email correspondence. If I decide to answer the message or they decide to work with me, because it's a two-way street. So a company called 1340 Gallery, which through research, I research anyone or anything, don't mind my cats in the background, they're playing, that I may do business with, because I want to know that who I'm working with or who I'm doing business with is on the up and up, that they have some integrity about their company and so on and so forth. Of course, none of us are perfect. We're all trying to make it in a very new industry, you know, with social media and the internet. Times are changing, the rules are changing. I totally get all that. But I want to make sure whoever I work with are doing right by either their employees, their business, their customers, so on and so forth. Now, what really got me upset with 1340 Gallery, they're an international art magazine, which is, it's legitimate. Unfortunately, I found a lot of reviews, a lot of different websites, different articles calling 1340 Gallery a scam, that it's not even a real company. And it took some research. Trust me, it took me making some phone calls and emails and stuff to really get down to the nitty gritty. 1340 Gallery is a legitimate company. They're a real international company, LLC, and they do have a magazine. What kind of pissed me off and turned me off to working with this company, I was seeing a lot of young, inspiring artists saying that they had been lied to or ripped off by this company, so on and so forth. So that's a red flag. If obviously you're going to see some bad reviews, there was a ton of reviews. I found hundreds and hundreds of reviews stating this. You can tell the difference between the reviews that were artists that were kind of just mad that they weren't chosen versus artists who were mad at how the company went about choosing its featured creators for their social media or their YouTube channel or their magazine, so on and so forth. So let me get into the nitty gritty here. Initially, they reached out to me via Instagram, asked me to submit one piece of artwork that I would be judged on to possibly, you know, be featured, a featured artist of theirs, whether it was on their social media accounts or in their magazine, so on and so forth. I did initially send in a submission while I was researching because this submission had no fees attached to it. They didn't want the rights. This was simply them judging your artwork to see if you were a right fit for as a featured creator, featured artist for their magazine and or their company, which is pretty typical. That is standard if you're going to be a artist, graphic designer, photographer, anything like that for any particular magazine or company. They're going to want to see a portfolio. So I wasn't turned off that they asked for me to submit like what I felt was like the best piece of work that showed the type of artist I am and my abilities. So I did that initially. I'd sent that first submission in. And then as I delved further into the company and seeing these reviews and different things like that, I was like, oh, I really don't think I want to do business with this company, even if they were to choose me. And then I got an email from them a couple days later saying that they would need further artwork, that I could submit up to 4 pieces of art. One piece would cost me $20. 4 pieces of art would cost me $30. And they would judge me based off those either 1 to 4 pieces. They said if you submit more pieces of artwork, you have a better chance, so on and so forth. I had seen a lot of people saying that this said that told them it was a scam. This doesn't initially tell me scam because it's not uncommon if you're going to compete in some type of art contest that there's some type of admission fee. That's pretty standard. A little on the high end, $20 to $30 to enter a contest. But the $30 submission fee did include 4 pieces of artwork. And it's usually $10 to $15 to submit 1 piece of artwork to your standard typical art contest. So that right there initially was not what upset me at all. Part of the email, included in the email, when they asked me to submit either 1 to 4 pieces and told me the fees, they did stipulate that the fee that was being paid would go to the charitable art organization that they were collaborating with. I did reach out to that organization. They are a legitimate organization, but then this was the very first red flag that upset me because the organization told me that they had received numerous calls, like dozens and dozens of calls from artists concerned that 1340 Gallery was lying to them. This art organization, charitable art organization, which is for children, they go around the United States, internationally, and they hold conferences for children who are interested in art, that are talented. And they do this in like low income communities that can't necessarily afford to have art as part of their education programs, which I love. When I was a child, I utilized a lot of, my parents were middle class. They worked hard. These programs meant a lot to me as a child. So I love what their organization is doing. The organization has nothing to do with 1340 Gallery other than 1340 Gallery is giving a percentage of their art fees for their competition to the organization, the art organization for kids. What concerned me about this is the gentleman I spoke to told me that in total, ultimately, they had received 2 payments from 1340 Gallery, just totaling just under $2,000. Now, $2,000 is nothing to scoff at. I'm glad they received this monies. That $2,000 helped some children somewhere to enjoy art and get their talent out there and cultivate it. So that is excellent. But what irritates me about 1340 Gallery is in their email, they didn't specify a percentage, and their wording made it sound like 100% of the fees were going towards this organization that they were working with, this kid nonprofit organization that goes around doing art and everything like that. When I did the math, even on even at $20, not doing the $30, 1 art submission at $20, even let's say they're only giving 25%, $5, when I look at the numbers that 1340 Gallery has listed on their own website, we are talking hundreds of thousands of dollars they've received in fees for these competitions. and only $2,000 of that went towards the main aspect you promote. Because when you go visit their website, they have an entire page for this charitable art organization for kids that they work with. An entire page of their website is dedicated to this, and you've only given them 2 payments totaling just under $2,000, even though you're using that as a very serious marketing ploy to get young, inspiring artists involved with your company. So that was a little undermined to me. I don't like that sort of thing. It could be that the contract is, oh, we only give you 1% of those fees, and then they're using it to claim all these different amounts and different things like that. And I'm not okay with that. That was a red flag. But, let's set that to the side. Another major component I found that was a complaint by other artists was that they said the magazine doesn't exist, because one of their, again, main selling points is that if you win this competition, we will have you be a featured creator in our printed magazine. Now, how they explain that via email and on their website makes it sound as if their magazine is being printed internationally through like a publishing house and like sold and bought on like store shelves and that sort of thing. Like when you're in the grocery store and you see the magazine rack, it's got a bunch of different magazines on it. This is how they're selling this. The truth of the matter is they have a digital magazine that they sell. They do create. They've only had 7 issues. They release them quarterly, so that's 4 a year. There's only been 7 that have come out. And how they get the printed, and I know exactly how this system works because I have worked on magazine campaigns that utilize the digital formats and platforms that are out there for you to create and sell your magazine through. So I know exactly how it works. So what they do is create this digital magazine. It is a very nice magazine. If you go to their website and click on their magazine, it's there. It is a physical magazine. Well, digital magazine. Where they get off saying, oh, it's a printable, we'll put you in our printed published magazine, is if you become a subscriber to their magazine, you purchase a subscription, or you can buy each magazine individually. It comes with an option, whether you purchase 1 magazine or you purchase the yearly subscription to have access to 4 magazines. There's an option once you've paid for that prescription to pay an additional small fee. It's usually a couple dollars, and they will print and send you a physical copy of that magazine. So technically, it is a printable magazine, but how they're selling it to these artists is that, oh, we have an international magazine that is printed on a regular basis that we will put you in if you pay these fees to possibly have a chance at that. And they are doing it big. They are collecting a lot of fees. If you go to their website, again, by their numbers, they will tell you that, oh, we've 21,000 printed magazines. I find that hard to believe because when you go to the platform that sells their magazine, which is not something they own, so they can't fidget any numbers on the platform they're using to sell their magazine, the magazine only has 1,600 followers, and you've printed 7, or not printed, but you've only published 7 magazines. There's no way you've sold 21,000 printed copies of your magazine. There's no way. You haven't even sold enough subscriptions to utilize those numbers to say these are the numbers we're selling. But that's what they're promoting on their website. They're also saying they have over 500,000 plus audience between all their social media platforms. That's not true. I went and looked at all the social media platforms they have. They have about 100,000, but not 500,000 plus. And I'd really like to know where they pulled them numbers from because I don't see them, but that's what they have listed. So that's how they're approaching young artists. They are a legitimate company. There is a possibility you can end up in their magazine. But the truth of the matter is the platform they're selling the magazine through, if you want to be in a magazine that bad, you can go pay the platform the $20 a month subscription or buy a yearly plan and launch your own magazine, and it'll get you just as much exposure as if you were in their magazine. I think what's happened here is they have a great idea. It is an awesome idea to bring together all, the collective, all these artists, put them in a magazine, show it to the world. I love what they want to do. But I think the problem is they're a new company. They're really trying to make it, and they're doing that fake it till you make it thing, but they're hurting a bunch of artists in the process. They're lying to a bunch of artists in the process. It's not technically illegal what they're doing because it's called marketing, but it's not very moral, and I don't agree with that. I would never do business with them. What prompted this video again today, I didn't plan on making a video, but they're so nonchalant about what they're doing. They sent me another message on Instagram saying, oh, we've seen your Instagram and your artwork. We would love for you to be a featured creator. Even though I've already told them no. Even though they've reached out to me 2 other times via email and I have again told them no. Which tells me is they're not even paying attention to the artist that they ask, because it's supposed to be by invitation only. Like they sell it as this, exclusive, come be one of our featured artists, it's so important, we'll put you in a magazine type thing, and they don't even keep track of what artists they've approached. So you can't really have looked at my work that hard or loved it that hard to send me a personal invite to be in your magazine. There's no freaking way. You just see a piece of art online, if it's halfway decent. Don't get me wrong, my artwork is the bomb. I'm just playing. No, it is really. But they're not even paying attention to that. I highly doubt that they even really gave my artwork a second look. They've seen that I'm an artist. They've seen that I have an art business. And they were like, oh, let's send her a message. And they're doing that with thousands of artists on social media and really just pitching a bunch of lies. So I wanted to make this video just to quickly talk about it and say, if you're a young artist, an inspiring artist, and you're really trying to make it, just be careful who you do business with. Be careful who you give your money to. There are so many art contests out there, so many different ways for you to get your art out there. Just do your best at researching and trying to really, make sure whoever you're working with or whoever you're submitting your art to or whatever, that they're on the up and up. And unfortunately, with social media being so large and so many different platforms that engulf millions of people, it's easy to get scammed. Trust me, I had to look for all this information. Like, if you go to their website, it looks great website. It looks to be on the up and up. They have all the key elements in place. But after seeing the reviews and really looking into what this company is doing and what they're doing with their artists, I was disappointed. Initially, I was excited when the first time they reached out to me, and then I seen all this information. Like I said, they don't even really pay attention to who they contact because they've reached out to me 2 other times, even though I've already told them no, and told them that I know what you're doing. I made it a point to send them an email. Look, I know what you're doing. Just leave me off your list or whatever it is you're doing, because I want nothing to do with it as an artist at all. So just be careful. Please be careful who you work with. Do your research, like really dive in there and make sure everything checks out. So peace, love, happiness. I'll talk to you guys soon.